Hey, welcome back to Joe and Tell. It's another date night video, and I
I
gotta
think we
say,
need to say like date day because it's not even nighttime. The birds are chirping and the sky is light.
we'll take what we can get.
Maybe with daylight savings time,
Yeah, that's right.
it'll become dark.
But we're gonna have to figure out something because it's getting cooler and cooler, and we're not gonna be able to do much more dating out here anyway.
We could do basement hangouts with Joe and Tell and wife.
That sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that. Spruce up the basement a bit.
Yeah.
Dust it. Clean up the cobwebs.
I don't think there's so much basement to be seen, so it's probably fine. We can just come up with some cheesy backdrop.
So I thought about we have a 17-year-old son who does not have his license, and we have encouraged him multiple times, even offered to take him out driving. Just doesn't seem to have much of an
We did go out driving.
No, we did.
No, we did. I did with him.
I did too.
Right, but like I really did.
Oh, okay.
Where he like drove us home from where we were.
Okay, well I drove.
No, I like really.
Okay, you went. So we
drove.
Yeah, you guys drove cross country, right?
I think we ended up in California.
Yeah, that sounds right. So my point being is that when we were kids, when we were younger, I mean, I couldn't wait to get my license. Like I was chomping at the bit, and now it seems like kids just don't even want to even think about getting their license or.
There's also like Uber and I don't know, they walk or they ride
internet,
with each other. There's internet, like they don't actually like meet or like socialize in person. So I think that's changing the way people are traveling or not.
Sure, that makes sense.
I was the same as you. I could not wait.
As soon as I got once I turned 16 and I had my permit. Once I turned 16, I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
But that leads me into thinking about talking about our experiences growing up and driving. Are you okay?
I feel like I have to sneeze.
I haven't even lit my cigar yet.
I know.
So
sorry.
No, that's all right. So I was thinking maybe we could share stories and if different experiences we had driving. And learning like from the age of 16 till now when we're much older, like 50 years later,
aging us fast.
To some of the things that we experienced.
I like it.
So as I light my cigar, why?
Every time, every single time.
No, I can start. Oh, I only have one match.
You better make it happen.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to right now.
Ooh, I really wanted to blow it, so it got out.
You would.
Oh, that would have made my moment. Did you have driver's ed when you were in high school?
I'm gonna need more matches.
Oh, dang.
I did.
Do you want me to hold it?
I did.
Are you gonna pause, or what are we
sure.
doing here?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. What? Oh. Nervous. Well, you see. I took driver's ed in high school. That was offered. Can't think now. I feel like it was during school was the talk through or whatever, like the book part of it, and then you would like drive in groups after school. And then it was like also with health ed or something, if I'm remembering correctly. I think that's how our driver's ed program was. I just remember them taking us out to show us how to change a tire, and I was totally distracted and not at all paying attention and have zero idea.
We did the drive. Thank you. Sorry. We did the driver's ed where we would drive with a teacher and another student after school. We had the class. I don't remember ever learning how to teach.
Did you have the class like during
school?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So ours is probably the same. Was yours like a health class and a driver's ed class? Because for some reason that seems like that's how it was. Maybe not. Maybe I'm making that up.
They did that for those rural schools where you were like driving
I was in a rural school.
Learning how to drive a tractor, so that if you needed to like stop.
You also lived in the middle of nowhere, so it's not like I was in like you were in some suburb or urban environment.
Anyway, the point was not to talk necessarily about the driver's ed experience, but
I was curious.
No, yeah, one of the things I wanted to share was the big moment when you get your own car. Like I had driven the family car.
Yeah, let's talk about the fact that our son yesterday was saying that one of the icebreaker questions he had recently was what would be your dream car? And most people were like one that runs, or, one that like whatever has like GPS, or
one that has an
his
engine.
was like a Porsche, blah blah blah. Like he rattled off
Sure.
some hot rod.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, you really thought about it." And
a Bugatti,
he has,
blah blah blah. Yeah.
and they're always like pipe dream cars, where there's a lot of components into getting a vehicle, period, let alone
right.
a lovely expensive one.
Right. No, I totally agree.
It's funny to me.
That mindset is young kids think, oh, my first car will be a Ferrari.
And we have in no way given our kids the idea that A, we're even buying them a car, B, that it's going to be at all nice.
Right. Yeah.
That we would even loan them one that we already have. They just think they're going to have these like hot rides.
Right. And
I was never under that impression. Were you?
No. So given the fact that I was driving our family Plymouth Horizon,
I can't picture what that
little
is.
4-door blue car, but I was driving that, and then
Were you sharing it, or was someone like, you can have this car?
Well, it was my mom's car, but we,
But you shared it with your mom.
Yes. So
that's how it was for me too.
Taking my sister to school and driving myself to school, things like that. But in college, I bought my first car. It was a used 1990 Mazda Protege, and it was a manual transmission. And I like
me a stick shift.
I love that car. I
gotta sneeze. It's coming now.
Bless you. I bought it with 80,000 miles on it, and I put
Not bad.
I put 100,000 on it delivering pizzas, and I loved that it was a manual, and that car literally.
Yeah, I would totally get a manual again.
I literally drove that car into the ground. Well,
it's under the ground now.
No, not literally, but
I literally drove it.
No,
I was like, man, that's a story.
That car
went into a sinkhole.
That car, no, it had some serious exhaust problems, and
doesn't that also mean it's an engine problem, or is that only when it's like blue? Whoa, what was that?
It was only the underneath.
It shot
the pipe,
fire out.
The pipes,
like
the exhaust pipe underneath, and like so, something was wrong with it down there.
That's what she
said. And then at least that's
couldn't
what
help it. I couldn't help it.
No, that's what the doctor told me.
You were hesitant too to be like, should that come out?
I realized what I was saying as I was saying it. Yeah.
But I'm glad you did.
So anyway, something was wrong with the undercarriage, and
also awkward. There's nothing you're gonna say here.
I know.
So you just move forward.
So I took it. It came to the point where we had to get the safety inspection and the emissions test to renew the license plates on it, and it turned out that the amount of work required for the car was more expensive than what the car was worth. And
that's always when you know.
My mom was on the car as well as myself, on the title as well as me, and we kept getting notices that if you don't get this fixed, your car is going to be like impound, not repossessed because I had paid for it, but like you would have been cited, like it was a hazard to the environment.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We got notices up on notice, and then
that's awesome.
And my mom would keep reminding me about it, and she's like, "Final notice," and so.
Which is awesome when you're a teenager or a young adult for your parent to remind you of something like that.
Sure.
That already feels stressful.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, at the time I was probably like, "Okay, thanks," and didn't even think about what it was.
So like now.
So, it was like Friday we got the final notice, and Monday it was going to be in like that point where, okay, that's it. As of Monday, you're going to be fined. And so
you're fine every day.
Oh, well, thank you. Date night indeed. Where's this
date
headed?
days going into the date night.
Where's this headed? Undercarriage.
I just imagine
maybe not. All right.
Tasty, gross.
Okay. So exhaust pipe.
I don't know. I want to elaborate.
Pasty, gross exhaust pipe. So Monday was the cutoff day, and I had been looking for a new car. I couldn't find the exact one I wanted, and I ended up going to the dealer on Saturday, and got a deal that I got. They had the car I wanted. I got the deal I wanted. So.
Oh, you didn't allude to the fact that you were gonna purchase a car in between. I thought you were like gonna get everything fixed or something.
No, it was going to be more money than it was worth.
Right, you
So-
said that, but
so-
you didn't say like, okay, so
well, so
Friday it was like a problem, and I was
So-
gonna go buy a car.
Well, I wasn't. I had been looking, but I couldn't find one I liked.
I gotcha.
And so
Maybe you did say that. I was thinking about undercarriages.
I don't think I said it.
Okay.
But regardless, I found the car I liked, and I put a down. You know, like I signed everything on Saturday, and so then I traded my.
You had a down payment from your old vehicle? Is that what you used?
No, I mean I traded my old vehicle in, but they gave me like a penny.
So you didn't have down payment?
I mean I did. I had like probably.
I had like
I probably had like $1,000 or something.
Wow, that's substantial.
I don't know what I had.
I mean, even if you had like a couple hundred, that's pretty.
Regardless,
was.
so it
I'm
was.
sorry. I'm excited about all your details.
That's fine.
You just want to get to the biz.
I signed all the detail, like all the paperwork and everything, and then I went and picked up the car on Monday, traded my old car in, so that was no longer, so I could write them back and say this car is no longer in my possession. It was traded in for another vehicle. So we got out from underneath that, and then the best part is I came home with it on Monday, and I was like, Mom, come out and look at my car.
What'd you get?
Oh, great point. I got a Honda Civic, 2001 Honda Civic, brand new. It had 6 miles on it when I drove it off the lot. So I bought this car, brand spanking new.
It was a manual, right?
Yeah, it was a manual.
Fun fact: we had the exact same car.
2001?
I think mine was a 2003,
Mm.
but it was still Honda Civic, black,
Mm-hmm.
manual.
Yeah, I love that car.
Yeah.
So-
same.
So I got that. I brought it home, and I asked my mom. I was like, Mom, come out and look at my car. And she went out and looked at it. She's like, Oh, you washed it. I was like, Mom, it's a brand new car. So she thought I had just washed
Not
my
observant.
1990 Mazda.
To look like a black
yeah,
one.
I washed it so well that it looked like a
You
2001
went
Honda.
from red to black.
No, they were both black.
Oh, they were both black.
yeah.
Oh, I don't know why I thought you had a red car.
But I mean, clearly the Mazda was like it has sun bleached
Oh,
and
sure.
it wasn't shiny, and so she just thought I'd washed it. But
Okay, that's cute. I thought it was red before she said that the whole time.
Oh,
Never
no.
said this, and that's why I was like, "Oh my gosh, she
well, yeah,
was not at all."
I washed
aware of
I
her
washed the red
surroundings.
paint right off of it. My no,
That
it
makes
was
a lot more sense.
black, old black car, new black car.
That's kind of okay.
So
That makes a lot more sense to me, and I've heard this story before. I don't know why I always thought it was red.
so
Golly.
to continue on with the Civic, I had that car for about 2 months, and I was working. I had like a 90-mile round trip to work every day. It was like 45 miles out and 45 miles
You weren't
back.
delivering pizzas then.
No, this is after that.
There's a lot of information missing in your story, and then all of a sudden it becomes very confusing.
I'm sorry.
No, so you were done delivering pizzas. You bought this vehicle, and what were you doing?
I was working in software
Okay.
development job, but it was a long ways away from home. So a guy and I worked with, we carpooled, but I was putting a ton of miles on the brand new car. I had to get my oil changed like every 3 weeks. It was ridiculous, or every 6 weeks or something. It was insane. All that to say is that I would carpool with a guy that I worked with that lived in the same area as I did. We would meet at a restaurant and park, and for 1 week he would drive, and then next week I would drive, and so we'd save on gas and all that. So while
Did you get along?
oh yeah
Did you have good conversation, or was it like, don't talk to me in the morning time?
no, we did. He listened to a lot of
550?
he listened to Bob and Tom
Oh.
on the radio. Yeah, I know. But and then I would fall asleep a lot on the way.
Really?
Yeah, like a baby in the car.
I bet you were like this, folded arms, leaned up.
Yeah, probably.
I can
So,
see it.
but the point is that
I'm sorry. I'm really exploring details, and I'm probably getting on your nerves, but
No,
I
not
like
at all.
that. I like those parts.
so, while one person is driving out to work every day for a week, the other person's car is sitting in the parking lot. So, we would park our cars at this. It was like a hotel with a restaurant in it, in the town we lived in, and I even parked my car all the way over to the edge against the curb, so that it was the curb on the right side, so that I knew that if somebody was pulling in next to me, most likely only if they had a passenger would that door open and possibly ding my car. Like I was thinking about everything, very anal about it. So I would park in this one spot every day. One day, we came home from work, and I was like, man, my car. Why does my car look weird? Like looked like it had been moved. And so it was in the median, like up on the grass,
Yeah.
diagonal, like out of the spot up. So I'm like, what in the world? And we pull around, we see the passenger side as we come around, and as we pull around to the driver's side, the whole left end, front end, driver's side is smashed to smithereens.
I would poop pants.
And there was a pink note on the window that said, "Call the police department when you get to your vehicle." I was like shaking. I'm like, what in the world happened? I was like, on the verge of tears. So
how old were you?
I was, let's see, probably like 22.
Yeah, so that's young and like have a new car.
Mm-hmm.
Aw.
22, 23. So I call the police department, and I'm like, what on earth happened? Turns out,
this is bananas.
yeah, a woman was driving. So, like I said, this hotel restaurant was next to the highway, so the on-ramp was kind of in front of it, but there was still like fencing and like trees and stuff in between the highway and this restaurant. This lady was getting onto the highway. She went into like an epileptic seizure while she was getting onto the highway, and obviously lost control of her car. She went down the ramp, the on-ramp, in the grass. She missed all of the trees, went through the fence, and smashed directly into the front of my car.
Like, what are the
pushing it up onto the median and smashing it to bits. 2 months. It was 2 months old. It was $7,000 something worth of damage. They did not total it.
Oh, that's the worst. Like, just total it. Let me get a hottie newie.
Yep. I mean, that was like half the value of the car. I think I paid like $16,000 for the car, and it was like $7,000 worth of damage, and the mechanic had it. So I had to have a rental. The mechanic had it for 2 months.
Wow,
mm-hmm.
That's insanity.
He showed me pictures of it. Everything from the windshield was gone, like the entire. So the windshield came down like this.
Oh, sent you pictures as they were working on it, or is that what it looked like when you got it?
No, he had them.
Oh.
As he was working on it, he would take them. But the windshield went like this, and then instead of being the hood, it just went straight down. No engine, no nothing, no tires, no. But yeah, and then we ended up we sold it to the neighbors across the street.
Oh, that's right.
Like 3 or 4 years ago. So
no longer than that.
Well, 5 years ago then. Something.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And it's still out there going strong.
As far as we know.
Without air conditioning, without the window rolling up, without all these other.
But again, all right, so that proves our point originally that the neighbors that bought it, it was for their son who just turned 16 or 17 and got his license and needed a car. And they were like, it doesn't matter if all this stuff works.
Right.
Like, that's what you get. Right.
Yeah. We sold it to him for like $200.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, because I was just thinking I've been through some cars. Because we sold that green car. Remember that green SUV we had for a minute?
The Honda CRV.
Yeah.
Yeah, our pastor sold it to us.
I totally forgot we even had that.
Yeah, that had some problems with it too. All right, so let's talk about your cars.
I don't know where to start because the whole time you were talking, I was actively listening, but also thinking about a lot of situations with cars.
Well, you had some serious
a lot of stories about
driving down the highway with your emergency brake on.
I hadn't even thought of that one, but I was thinking of like stories with friends
getting
in their
accidents.
Cars. Like spit taking Yahoo. What's the chocolate drink?
Yahoo's a search engine. Yoo-hoo's a chocolate drink.
Yeah,
I was on that Yoo-hoo the other day looking for something on the internet.
I was on Yoo-hoo, and then I spit my Yahoo. I can't talk even. Gosh, just so many things. Well, my first fun. Gosh, I really can come up with a lot of things about cars. So we shouldn't have spent so much time hearing about your black cars. Because I really was interested.
Okay, just let's hear one story.
I loved it. let's go to like when I first got my driver's license. Okay, so this whole time I had been driving an LTD station wagon. The problem with this gray station wagon was that there was a problem with the battery, but we couldn't I don't know if we couldn't afford to fix it or whatever the case may be. When you stopped the vehicle, you had to take the battery cables off or it would drain the battery and then you couldn't drive.
So like when you stopped at a stoplight.
No, it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
Oh, maybe I just stayed idle. I can't remember how I handled
Yeah,
it.
I used to have to put the Plymouth Horizon in neutral at stoplights.
That's what it was.
Yep.
I couldn't actually like stop.
If I left it in
No,
park,
if it was running, it was fine. Maybe. Oh no, if you stopped, yeah, like and not like stop like you're braking at a light, but like turn the car off.
Ours was if I stopped at a stoplight, I had to put it in neutral. Otherwise, the car would die. It would not start again.
Oh my gosh,
And
I can't remember to which extreme that was.
To start the car, you had to open the hood and lay a screwdriver across the terminals.
I did have a car like that. I had a Ford car like that I got from someone I was dating, and I was borrowing it to get to all my jobs. It was something with the spark plugs, and you had to put a screwdriver in there, start it, and then drive it, and you couldn't stop anywhere. Like, if you had to get gas, like, you better be ready to hit the screwdriver again. But, like, you didn't want to ever stop, so it was like, I'm not running errands because I don't want to have to do this 500 times.
Right.
Oh, my gosh, I forgot about that, too.
That's hilarious.
That's when I lived in that really gross apartment. Anyway, yeah, so my first car was this LTD gray station wagon. And so the whole thing was like, oh, I'm going to go take my driver's test. So I don't want to take the station wagon. I'm going to be like, hold on, officer. Let me go and like put the battery cables back on and then we'll get going. Right. So it was just like, we're not taking that.
Let me get my screwdriver so I can start the car.
So the best part is that I didn't take that one because that would have been embarrassing. However, I took my dad's Oldsmobile, a brown Oldsmobile. It was basically like a box turd to get my license, but it was nice to us because it was like a fairly newer car
like
he got from like work or something.
Driving a sofa, probably. Like
it
massive.
It was not big.
Oh, okay.
Like it was kind of, I don't even know. It was not a huge car. However, no one told me ahead of time that the display for the gears was shifted.
So it wasn't accurate?
No. So of course, like my parent drove us to take the test.
And they knew that.
And they knew. It's like a default thing where you're just like, oh, I know it's off one and whatever.
It's common knowledge for them. They just never shared it.
So I've always driven this like crappy station wagon, but then now I'm in this like more decent ride. We get to the test.
More decent
I get in the car with the officer and I think I'm going in reverse to back us out. I put it in neutral and we ride up on the curb. Because it was like on a little bit of a hill, like just enough. So I put it in neutral, which I thought was reverse. I hit the gas and then it was like, and he's like, let's get out. He didn't even let me take the test.
Are you kidding?
I failed on the spot. He was like, if we don't know the gears, then we're not getting in the car and driving any further. And I was like,
oh my God. No grace at all.
No.
I thought he would be like, let's try it again.
No, I was mortified. I was like, well, okay, I think that things are off because look. And he was like, no, I can't. Like, I don't know if it was like by law or whatever.
You should have been like, all right, why don't you try it?
I just cried. I
don't blame you.
I was like, this is not fair because, you know, you gear up to do this test. You like
have
to convince your family to make time to take you. It's a whole thing.
It's a big deal.
Right.
You're going to get a license to drive a car and you're only 16 years old.
And in your head, you're like, oh, I'm going to come home and be like, oh, look what I got. Or, you know, you've like planned out the thing where you're going to pretend you failed, but you really passed and like the whole thing.
You got your bifocals?
Not then. Now I do.
No bifocals tonight, Mr. Papa Giorgio?
Well, I failed my written test the first time and then passed. And then I failed my driver's test the first time and then the second time I passed. But not by much. Because I think I did something where I forgot I was supposed to like turn my wheels when I parked down a hill or something.
That explains a couple of things.
No. I always skip by.
If you park uphill, you're supposed to turn your wheels out. So that if the car were to roll,
toward the curb,
it would hit the curb. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Or if you're face downhill, you turn them in toward the curb. So that again, same principle.
So I had the LTD station wagon. I drove that the whole time I worked when I was in high school. After I got my license, like that's what I took to work, and then everybody laughed because I'd have to pop the hood, and it was real embarrassing. Everyone that I worked with was older, and like here I'm this like young kid. I gotta like try to start my car. I don't know. It was a mess.
That's crazy. I did not know that story about you getting your license.
Yes. Ugh, terrible. Needless to say, I don't think I took that vehicle, or I had the knowledge the second time. I can't remember what I actually passed my test in. Then,
sorry, I was just gonna say, you mentioning the old Oldsmobile,
yes,
made me think of, so the Plymouth Horizon. My sister ended up wrecking when she got her license. She like ran into the back of somebody and totaled it or something. But so we ended up getting another car from our pastor. It was a 1980 Pontiac Le Mans, and I kid you not, the hood of this car was the size of the entire Plymouth Horizon.
That's awesome.
Like the car, it was a boat, man. It was a massive car. And so yeah, I delivered pieces in that for a while too. So anyway,
I feel like you need a bad car. Like it just creates character
where the
and
felt
story.
hangs down and you gotta tack it up.
Yes. Did I tell you about that?
No, that was like,
oh my gosh, that
my
was
friend.
me.
My friend did that in her car.
That's in the Yoo-hoo car. It was the Oldsmobile. I inherited it after a while, and that was my car.
Yeah.
And the lining would fall off, and we would figure out
hit
how
you
to.
in the hit.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that like felty, like weird feeling lining, and then you feel the foam underneath when you go to tack it up.
No, I think my friend Linda had that, and she had to tack all the stuff to the top.
Yes. Oh, what else? Yes, I had a Honda Civic black manual.
Awesome car.
Happened to be socializing with friends that were older at a place where maybe I shouldn't have been because I wasn't old enough. May have taken part in things that I shouldn't have completely taken part in. Had things in my vehicle that I probably shouldn't have had, and drove down the highway, leaving said location with a friend. And here we are, and I'm like, what is all that smoke coming out of my back of the car? And I'm going probably like 70 miles an hour down the highway. Cop pulls up behind. I am like, okay, there's a cop. I gotta pull over and get off the highway on this exit ramp, and I go to slow down, and I have no brakes. So then I like get up the exit ramp, and I go to this like, I still can't slow down. I like turn into this gravel, and I just throw it into neutral and then in park because it's a manual. Thank goodness.
Mm-hmm.
I had my parking brake on. And I was like blowing my clutch in the brakes system and holding like 9 yards.
So it was like sparks and stuff flying out?
There wasn't, I don't know. Oh, because I also had a lot of stuff in my car that like I'd already like consumed, and I don't even know how I made it out of that because I was not old enough to have these beverages in my car.
Or be driving.
Or be at the place I was at when I don't know. How am I even alive? I'm not sure. But that was another, so that was a problem. I had to have my dad come get me.
I do remember hearing that part of the story.
And then he was up very late. And I just remember he went to turn on the exit ramp. Like it's like 2 a.m. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And then he went to turn on the exit ramp to get on the highway. And I'm like, no, that's the exit ramp. And so the entrance ramp, like, so he was like,
gosh.
I know. It was like Hot Mess Express.
So was he at the same party? Like, what?
That's so crazy. No, but he was very nice to take care of me and come get me, and always was very much like,
that's a good dad.
I knew I could call him anytime.
That's
and
good.
it was horrible to have to call him.
Yeah,
it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was in trouble, and my car was broken.
Yeah, tail between your legs and all that stuff.
So my mom and dad were given a car through my dad's work. It was a Honda. It was red. It was like one of those, like, we'd been driving LTD station wagons. My mom had like a purple, some kind of like SUV-ish vehicle for a while. I had the brown Oldsmobile.
Mary Kay? Your mom had a Mary Kay?
No, she didn't. Could you even see my mom selling Mary Kay? No way.
No.
To get her to a baby shower, so to sell makeup, I don't think so. She's
Avon.
No. She's Earth Mama. But when we got this red Honda, and my dad like brought it home, and it was through work or whatever, it had like a moonroof. Like, this was just like, oh my gosh, like, we have a beautiful car. So whenever they would let me take it.
It was like our son's car that he wants. It was like luxurious. Like, Where's,
I mean,
where's
with
the
like
jacuzzi?
10 steps down.
Where's
It
the
was
jacuzzi
not,
tub?
like, for us that have
right,
been like
exactly. That's what I'm
yes.
saying. That's what I'm saying. It's
it
like
seemed like it, but
for you at the
by no
time-
means was it.
for you at the time, it's like, oh, there's
Sure.
gold. There's gold plating on
Yes,
the.
you find you're grateful for it, and
Sure,
you find it to be an incredible car, and it's
Yeah.
not anything to like write home about, really. But it for us, it
The
was
fact
like,
that you don't need a screwdriver makes it fancy.
amen, brother. There's no yoo-hoo on the lining that was hitting your head. That's all I got to say. All the gear shifts were marked correctly. Things were in good shape. But when they would let me borrow this car, I mean, it was like glory days. And sometimes I would kind of say like, okay, I'm gonna like they'd ask me to run to the store or something, and I would like just cleverly take the keys for that car instead of the other one to go to the store. I wouldn't really ask. It was like, yeah, it was like, don't ask permission, ask forgiveness.
Yeah.
So I would like do that. So one time my friend Tara and I were, I don't even know where we were going, but I remember, I think they had alluded to my needing to take the brown car, but I really wanted to drive her around in the new one.
The red car.
And so we had left, and we were in a home. We were renting a home where there were horses.
We were in a home.
we were in a home, so we were really we hadn't been medicated. No, we lived in this rental. We rented a home that was on a lot of land, and in the front of the land were the owners of the home's horses, and so they would like roam around in the front pasture. But the bummer part is that at the end of the driveway was this chain, because one of them like got upset, and then every time you left, you had to like take the chain off so the horses didn't get out, put it back on when you pulled your car through. Needless to say, there were horses that were not ours that were always around, and it was a pain in the butt.
Crossing the street and just all
around,
everywhere.
right? Yeah. So they're not our horses, but we had to do this chain thing of the driveway just to like, because the horse would get out if we didn't, whatever.
Right.
So my friend and I were leaving. I had taken the Honda, didn't really get permission to. And I'm like driving down our gravel driveway, which was like so long. We're like cracking up, but I'm super paranoid. And I think I hear like one of my parents yelling. So I'm like turning around, and I'm like, oh crap, we're going to get in trouble. Hit the horse. It was in the driveway, like just standing there like a total dummy.
How fast were you going?
I was on a driveway, and so I'm sure I wasn't going like,
too fast.
40.
But still.
But it was enough.
Did like the horse fall over? Or
it was like no, it wasn't.
Oh, I was just saying, oh my gosh.
No. So the thing is that I hit it, and she was like, you hit the horse. And I turned, and then it was like, and I'm like, it's fine, let's go. So I just kept going.
How'd it go?
So we kept going. So in my eyes, I'm like, got the nice car, hit the horse, it ran. We're golden.
We're good.
I'm not talking about this.
It's a good night.
We're not talking about this ever again.
Good night.
And I think probably 15 years went by. And then I was at a school in Texas, and we'd gone over all this stuff about like forgiveness and like being like truthful and like admitting things that we have done that's still like in our heart. Ring, ring, called home, told my parents, I hit the horse. And they're like, what are you talking about? What horse? And I'm like, remember when we
at
lived
this point,
at,
they were
yeah,
in the
we're
city,
like two other homes away from this
they're in the
house that we
city,
had
and
lived in.
we haven't seen a horse in like 20 years.
And they're like, what do you mean you hit the horse? Because a couple months after, the horse got like a leg infection and it died. It might have been my fault. Nobody ever knows. Like, nobody knows. It might have been my fault.
It had a leg infection called Honda.
Yeah, it had an imprint. It had a dent that said
the H.
A no to ho, or whatever would be Honda backwards. Like it was like a branding.
It has an H on the hip.
They're like, wow. I don't know. There was like a car like hood ornament in its leg. Oh, sheesh. I don't know, but I felt real guilty, so I admitted that.
Well, that's good of you.
I had other stories, but
yeah.
I mean, we'd have to spend all night.
Yeah,
together.
we both could talk all night on.
I hope we do.
I hope so too. Well, not all night. I want to get some sleep. Date night. All right, guys.
It's been good talking to you. Though.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you guys stopping by. Hope you like and subscribe. And until next time. What are you showing off?
There's gonna be some merch coming up too if you like Joe and Tell.
That's right. Yeah.
So this is part of that.
Be on the lookout. Oh, thank you. That was nice.
Somebody works out.
Whatever. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.